Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that
And you're
is
charged
not
with theft of a
relevant.
firearm worth...
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy. The dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
It's always good when the audio still works. It's bad when the music stops when I switch scenes. So I think I found a way around that. Happy Tuesday morning to you, by the way. Because we are there, we're halfway to Hump Day. Does that count for anything? I think it should. Okay. There we go. And there we go. All right, we have a wonderful morning ahead of us, but not so good for Alexis, because Alexis, in her eagerness to participate in this morning's show, blundered into chat first, and clearly just stepped right into it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Alexis, I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you have won the internet and everything that comes with it. Congratulations, condolences, whatever is appropriate. We send them your way. You are early. Thank you for being here early. We will go ahead and package the internet up to you and email it out. Please take care of it, and and good luck. Let's see what is on the menu today. Well, first let's see let's do a quick roll call. I think now they weren't a minute ago, but I think now all the commands are working. Why is my mouse? My mouse has wandered from the computer, which it's connected to some other screen, but I found it now. Okay. Alexis, Abby, Pauline, JK, Denise, Van, good morning. Golden Mom's here. Thanks for the text, Golden Mom. That was some fun. She sent me why is my phone? I don't know what my phone is doing. It can't live right there, apparently. That's not the spot for it. We'll put it over here. Hold tight. We'll get this sorted. There we go. The phone's going to hide today. Let's see. Where were we at? My mouse got lost again, and it's back. Kathy, good morning. Dallas, I think if you do that command one more time. Oh, wait, it worked the first time. You're good. Shauna, good morning. Julianne. Izzy, Tater Tot, good morning. Karen, missed you there for just a second. I clicked somewhere, and suddenly chat updated with a million people. Laura, another Laura.
Back to address subject matter jurisdiction.
We've got back-to-back Lauras today. That's awesome. Good morning, Recovery Addict and Mod, says the first one. And Laura, number two says, not late. Good morning, Recovery Addict, Hello Addicts. Happy Tuesday. It is a happy Tuesday for me as well. DMB's here. I think, Michelle, we got you earlier in the house. Miss Chris, hello. Good morning. Kathy's taking her seat. Carly's here. Good morning, Miss Priss. I think we got you as well. Denise, Tracy, MM Jones. I'm not sure if it's MM Jones's or MM Jones, because there's two M's and two S's, and I get confused with multiple letters. Good morning, Abby. Good to have you here from the UK. Weather Watch is here. Good morning, you wonderful people. We might have to check in with the Weather Watch today, see what's happening. Just in case we do, I'll open Zoom, but we'll see what happens here. Open. Hold tight here. I do have a little bit of good news. I think I shared it in a community post earlier, and I put it in the description here. But I got a post office box, finally. I will tell you this. It took more work to get that post office box than it took to buy the house I currently live in. I bought this house using one click on my smartphone, and it was done. That was the entirety of the paperwork was one click with my smartphone. And it took a whole big form and application and everything on the post office box. But multiple forms of ID, couple trips back and forth. But we got it. We got it set up. Alexis, yes, please take your seat.
Subject matter jurisdiction.
We probably should. There is some news about Daryl Brooks we're going to bring to you today. Mary Kay says, good morning from Illinois. Miss Pris, Tina. Let's see, who else do we have here? Laura, we got you. Linda Hill, good morning to you as well. Let's see, I'm starting to double up. Pauline, Golden Girl, good morning. Izzy, who did I miss here as I scroll? Katrina's here. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, Katrina. Good to have you. Linda, Monica says late. No, you're still on time as long as I'm still calling roll when you show up. I learned this in high school. And then you just have to pretend like you skipped your name and you're good. So, Tater Tut's here. Good morning, Sandy. Rowdy is here. KQD, good morning. We'll need that weather report. Did I miss that already? Oh, there it is. 40. I did miss it. 44.7 degrees Fahrenheit in my front yard with drizzles now and then. So it's warming up.
Mary Key just sent a super sticker with 19.99.
Mary Kay. I call you Mary Kay. It says Mary Key. But that is a beautiful super sticker, trophy and all. Is that a fox? What does the fox say? It looks like a fox holding a trophy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mary Kay. Beautiful way to start the day with a super sticker. Let's see. Finally, a P.O. box. Courtney, yes, and I actually made a command for it as well. Unfortunately, it's the only command I really made yesterday, the new one. I know I owe you a few. I owe you Squirrel. I owe you a couple others. But I think if you put ! Address, it puts it in chat. And it's a P.O. box. So they gave me 2 keys, but there's only 1 lock. So I guess I can lose 1 key and still be good. But let's see here. For those that I've missed in chat, as far as roll call goes, Katrina says here, just go ahead and raise your hand as I scroll through. I'm going to go ahead and catch you. Hans Van. I'm trying to pronounce your last name. Genetchen. I'm not sure if it's a K sound or a ch sound. Red Pen is here. Maria, Missy Pants, good morning. Julianne, missed you. Miss Pris as well. Let's see. Anybody else raise their hand here that I may have missed? Carolyn, good morning. First time I've been able to catch a live. Always watch after. Excited to be here. Carolyn, I'm so excited that you're here on a live. Please jump in chat and make yourself at home. It's a good group of people here. I think you'll love it. Good to have you on a live. Just want to make sure. Jen Hoff, Ritz, greetings from Chicago all. How's it up there? Are you a little bit cold up there? I'm just curious. I will say that it's 35 degrees here, so just above freezing. And there we go. I see you. Let me switch screens here. Why will it not let me do this? Just 1 second here. Weather Watch. Use a separate display. There we go. Going to slide you over to the other screen. We do have Weather Watch on the Zoom. I'm just getting everything set up to bring him on. Be just a minute. I think Weather Watch, your audio is going to be live in just a moment. So no hot mic moments, please. Give me a second here. We're going to do a 2-box. And probably this guy right here. Nope, not that one. It's early here. We'll get you set up. There we go.
Same.
Okay. And switch to Super Source. There we go. Okay. I guess you don't need me twice. Good morning, Weather Watch. How was everything in the world of weather this morning? We're coming through from the jail, by the way. If you look very carefully in our background, we're in Knoxville for some reason.
I love it. I was watching that this morning. They had a good one going.
That's cool. What's happening weather-wise?
Well, goodness, most have seen in the news the same story as last week. California, they're just getting bombarded by these atmospheric rivers that just keep flying through one after another, and it's really just created massive chaos out there.
Yeah, I've been watching the news stories, and it looks like something from a foreign country. Like this is, it looks like tsunami in some of the shots. It's just like water, just endless water, just pouring in, and the forecast is just more and more of this for the foreseeable future, right?
Yeah, and it's a little bit of everything. There's massive swells down further south that, ironically, some of the crazy surfers were out there taking advantage of because the weather was clean enough. But then you go up, you have coastal flooding. Some of the golf courses there in Monterey, they're being inundated with floodwaters coming in. And then the further inland you go, you've got rock slides and mudslides and things like that. Massive sinkholes have been happening and taking place. It's just been absolutely crazy for everybody out there.
I saw something about sinkholes are swallowing cars or something, and it's just that I'm fine with the danger I can see, but when the ground just gives way underneath me, that I'm not okay with.
Exactly. And for those that aren't familiar with it, it's just when the massive amounts of water are just continuing to come underneath that asphalt, under that road, and erode all of the dirt and all the foundation below. All of a sudden, a car comes along, and they had a few that were 15 and 20 feet in diameter, where a car just literally disappears.
It just swallows them. That is bizarre. Is there a certain part of the country that's got it worst today? Is it still California, or is that starting to move across the country?
Yeah, sadly, it's still California today. They're going to continue. They're getting their third wave, I want to say, that comes in today. It's basically ranging from the northern part of California all the way down into northern Los Angeles is what's getting hit the most and the hardest. That's going to continue today. And then sadly, it won't be quite as violent of rainfall and the winds and everything they're seeing, but they're going to get another wave come tomorrow. So they're in it for the long haul. It's really scary for a lot of them out there.
Are any of these really making it over the Rockies and threatening the rest of the country, or are they sort of petering out on the mountains there?
Yeah, so that's the thing with the Rockies. The Rockies are a big shield. So as the weather moves more inland and heads out to the east, that weather kind of gets to the top, and then a lot of it turns into snow, some of it stays rain. And then as it begins to descend over the Rockies, it loses a lot of its energy. It loses a lot of its moisture. That air actually compresses, and it actually warms up a little bit more so than it was on the west side of the Rockies. We do have a chance for one of these systems to actually clear the Rockies, move into the central U.S. So tomorrow, there's a real slight chance, actually marginal chance for some thunderstorms that might break out. But Thursday, it's going to continue on, and then it's going to collide with some of that warm moisture coming up from the Gulf. And so that's where we have the potential to see. I don't think we're going to really see anything as far as tornadoes, but more than likely kind of a high wind event Thursday for the Georgia and Alabama areas.
So Kathy says we need some rain in Texas. Are you not getting any of this from California? It's all going north of you.
It's all going north and staying north for the week. We've got blue sunny skies for the next 10 days here.
Man, and California will trade you in a heartbeat, I think. Eileen says Sacramento looks like a war zone in some areas. It's crazy and more rain. As far as the damage on the coast, what are you seeing? Is this permanently going to change the coastline, or is it more just like, some damage that will be repaired?
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of erosion on certain coastline areas. The biggest thing that we're seeing is it's almost like a mini hurricane that's been taking place for days and days. Sadly, we've had the death toll somewhere near the teens. The flooded roads, crops, homes. There's trees that are covering roads. There's trees that have collapsed into homes. The mudslides that, these take place in all those burn scarred areas we already talked about, right? So as they continue to go down, they take trees and rocks and things with them as they continue. So now essentially it's floating missiles that are coming into structures and things like that. So when she says war zone, it's exactly what it looks like when you see some of the footage.
Now, just from my personal hobby background, I used to do a little bit of gold panning, and I can say that if there's a silver lining to this, there's actually a gold lining. You might have gold in your streets in California, as so much of the soil is coming down off the mountains and washing down. It actually does free up gold that's in the mountains. I would not be surprised if we hear somebody finds a nugget in the cleanup process out in their yard. But just our hearts go out to those people who are just. This is an incredible weather event out there that's just causing so much damage and devastation.
It really is. It's unprecedented. I haven't seen it in many, many years. The power outages have been insane. Just a quick look there. I know we were at 100,000 yesterday. It dropped to about 80,000 last night. And because the weather moving in now, it's up to 250,000 out of power in California. And again, it's not done. There's more weather coming in again for them tomorrow. So it's really sad for them.
Do we have any indication if any of this is making it up into the the reservoirs where they need the water so badly, or is it it's sort of just washing back into the ocean?
Some of it is actually, which that is the other gold lining, as you say there for that. The other aspect of this, as some of these systems continue to go east, they are dumping a ton of snow. I want to say yesterday 8 feet was dropped near the Tahoe areas, things like that. So all that snow melt is going to be great. 8 feet. Now that's accumulated over the last few days in these past few systems that came in. But that snow melt, it's going to be fantastic for them over the next coming weeks and months.
All right, that is good news. Hopefully, we want Lake Mead to fill up, and then maybe Lake Powell upstream, and and Utah wants it all up there before it gets to Lake Powell as well. So hopefully, some moisture gets far enough up that it can break this drought situation that's been going for so long. But
yeah, it'll take a lot because what they say is basically a foot of snow once it's melted kind of equates to about 1 inch of water. So we need that 8, 10, 12 feet accumulation. We need it to stay and slow melt, and we need a little bit more before the winter season's over to really help, fill those reservoirs back up. Yeah,
the slow melt you mentioned. If it melts wrong, it could be almost as bad as not getting it at all, right? It's just
exactly, and the evaporation rate, and then the runoff from that, and where it goes. So yeah, slow melt's definitely the key.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anybody out there had a question that you needed to answer as far as weather-wise? Let's see.
I saw a few come in, but you brought them to our attention.
MB says at this point, California should consider relocating.
There's a lawsuit.
It's relocating to the ocean. It's just sliding off right now, just a runoff and mudslides. But
California is slowly shrinking at the moment.
Yeah, it's losing landmass.
Right.
All that.
Quick shout out to some of our friends out in the UK, because I
please.
never get to talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with the geography out there, but I did take a quick peek. More central UK. They're going to have high temps around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius here for the next few days. A little bit of rain, a little bit of breeze that's going to come in.
Subject matter jurisdiction.
Subject matter jurisdiction. And then temperatures will fall off later into the weekend and early next week, down to maybe 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. But rain and wind, things like that, should kind of subside.
I like how you went native and used Celsius instead of Fahrenheit, so they didn't have to do the math. That is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna go kick off the trial discussions now. We've got a lot of things just happening in the background that it's going to be more of an open format discussion today. So feel free to jump in. I'm not sure if you want to stick around for trial discussions or not, but you're welcome to if you'd like. I know you've got work as well, so.
Yeah, I can hang around for a little bit. Absolutely.
Sweet. All right, let's see if we can maybe get Weather Watch's take on some of the court cases we're following right now. First, let me answer just a couple quick questions. Somebody said, P. Cooper said, can only members use commands? There's a couple commands that are only members, like seat is only for members, but most of the commands are open to everybody. I'll fix the address when it's not working. That's from my P.O. box. So if you need the P.O. box right now, just go to the community post I posted last night. That'll have it in it. Okay. Somebody said, let's see. I missed Arkansas, by the way. Arkansas. Sorry, I see you there. And Bob, KF70IK, we'll get you here. Somebody had a good question here that I wanted to pose to Weather Watch. I'll get there.
Put me right on the spot.
Yeah. It was basically, what's your take about, and it was about the Idaho murders, I think. Sorry, Arkansas says, if he's not going to recognize me, I will unsubscribe to the channel. I don't know what I've done wrong. I have problems with my mouse. That's why I don't recognize people. It just skips over pages. Okay, so here was, here we go. Always on go, says Recover Addicts, and I'm going to pose this to Weather Watch as well. Do you think Koberger was in the house before? Well, my phone's going nuts. How do we know where each room... How would he know where each room is and be able to get in and out in less than 20 minutes? What's your official take on this as a weatherman?
As a weatherman. So I think based off of the phone data that was released in the PCA, I don't think he was in there lying in wait. again, this is strictly opinion. I really have no idea. But it's in regard to knowing how the layout of the house was, things like that. As often as that home was probably on the market for lease and rent throughout the college years, you could easily find listings on Zillow and do virtual tours of the layout, things like that. The other part of him visiting that location allegedly or being in that area 12 times prior, that easily could have been friends of a friend of a friend who he did show up there for a party or two or to hang out.
Wow.
I really don't know, but that's kind of my take on that.
The thought of him being there previously at a party and, making mental notes and plans. Oh, crazy. 80s Music Pen says, hey, Weather Watch, can tornado really take you to Kansas?
I've been wanting to look up the furthest distance something or sadly someone has traveled via tornado, because it's got to be a massive distance with some of the tornadoes over the last few years.
And still had a safe landing, or is this the recovery point?
Yeah, the odds are not likely there.
It's the landing that's the hard part. The flying, you're pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of debris with you, but yeah, let's see. Bite Me says, sitting on the front row, finally made it. Congratulations. Recovery Addicts, good morning from Vancouver Island, BC. Here it's early, 6:23 a.m. What's the weather like up there, Kevin? How are you doing up in there?
It's got to be a little chilly up there in BC. Beautiful, beautiful place, by the way.
Yeah. AJ says, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. That's according to Dylan. Weatherman, is that a political profile name? AJ's just giving me a hard time. Just want to see if there are any other questions for you, Weather Watch. Somebody said maybe he crashed from their parties to the layout. That's what we were just talking about. If the idea that he was there at a party, that he could have been there, scoping it out and planning it, it gives me chills. Just like,
It really does.
Have you followed the news out of with Darrell Brooks the other day with his appeals in Judge Doro's court?
Ooh, I have not, but I'm sure everyone's ready to hear that.
He finally wised up. And he's asked for a public defender. He wants somebody to help him with his appeals because he failed so miserably at his own defense. But he finally has a public defender. They reached out to the public defender. The guy, I mean, he was assigned, but he's one of those attorneys that that sort of takes public defender cases and has the side stuff. He doesn't just do public defending, and so he's going to be paid at a lower rate than his regular billable hours. But he hasn't met with Mr. Brooks yet, so I'm not sure if he's going to ask to withdraw at some point because of all the cases where you expect attorney to say, "Please, I want out." Mr. Brooks might be that one.
He saw that paperwork come across his desk and he just thought, why me?
Like,
what have I done?
What did I do wrong in a previous life to deserve this, right? Yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay, Toxic Orchid says, oh, you fixed it. You fixed my calendar dates. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was late to, it's not working yet. Maybe I need to sign out and sign back in. Let's see. Irene says flood warning for me in San. How do you say this? Jacinto. Is it Jacinto? Jacinto. It's not Ja. I know it's not a J sound. I think it's a more like.
So it's San Jacinto.
Jacinto. Okay, it's like a Y sound, right?
Yeah.
I took French. I didn't take Spanish, so I struggle with this. Pray for me. I had to evacuate for fires in September, and we're living in the Old Testament. Are we living in the Old Testament? Yeah. The fire, from the skies, this plague of frogs. Expect it all, Irene. Unfortunately, it's crazy right now. The poor public defender is probably thinking, "Dang it! I should have resigned." Michelle says, Weather Watch and Recovery Addict. Fun fact, the 1966 Palm Sunday tornadoes in Elkhart, Indiana, a receipt from a store flew all the way to Florence, Ontario, 290 miles.
There you go. I love it. Stuff like that. It's absolutely wild.
Now, I've seen some crazy damage with items that get blown through a telephone pole. Like the speed of the wind launches like a 2x4 through a telephone pole, and it looks like it just got stuck through like a toothpick through a marshmallow type thing. But some crazy damage. But you imagine. Yeah. So go ahead.
Where I live now, back in '79, there was a massive tornado over a mile wide. It absolutely decimated town. went from the southwest corner all the way through the northeast and just obliterated everything. To this day, on one of the local golf courses here, you can find shards of metal and pieces of debris embedded in trunks of trees from that. And that's back from 79. Absolutely wild.
Man, crazy powerful. Let's see. Always on go says Recovery Addict Weather Watch. Sorry, last question about the subject. When do you guys think we will get some more info or evidence for the Idaho murders? I'm sure they found a lot in the last week. I'll answer my take, and then we'll take Weather Watch next. I think we're not going to get a lot of evidence until this goes to trial because of the gag order. Now, I know that things are coming out, right? We're getting more information, not through the court system. So either there's a leak that thinks they're exempt from this gag order, or people are talking. But I think the most of the information we're going to get, especially about things the police have discovered in their searches, subsequent investigation, will come out during court. Do you feel any differently, Weatherwatch?
No, I'm with you 100%. I think things are going to stay extremely tight here in the coming days, weeks, months. I do, however, feel when things come out, there's going to be a lot. Because we have to remember, all the evidence that we've seen so far was just in the arrest affidavit. Once they took him into custody, that's when they executed the search warrant for his apartment. They continued to search then his parents' house and then his car. And things in his apartment, it's not just going to be physical evidence such as DNA or stained clothes, but they took his computer, and who knows what other electronic devices are there. And as we all know, we've seen before, it's not as easy as just deleting a file and you think you're safe. I think they're going to uncover a whole lot of stuff that I really think it's going to be a bit damning once everything comes out.
Yeah, especially because if he used the internet to prepare for this, there's going to be a digital trail all over that hard drive of everywhere he's went, people he's talked to. Maybe even anonymously that he bounced ideas off of. We know that he's been curious about people who have committed crimes and how they felt and what they did. So if he had any sort of network that way,
jurisdiction.
I think Darrell Brooks actually has some Milwaukee hearing this month. Is that right? The case up in Milwaukee should be moving forward. Maybe it's next month. But,
I think so.
But yeah, so there's just going to be a wealth of information. Whether or not it pertains directly to this case or not, there's so much. And I do believe that the police already, at the time they wrote the PCA, had much more than they included in it. So
absolutely agree.
That'd be fantastic. Bitfinex says, yeah, I was thinking Brooks had a Milwaukee trial date coming up in late January. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, and just trying to get my Discord to fix for me here. Toxic was fixing it for me. I just want to make sure it's working. I don't know the date off the top of my head on that one, but it is coming up. That is the trial for running over somebody with the car before he ran over a lot of people with the car, if I understand correctly.
Yes. Erica Patterson, wasn't that his ex's name?
Who, and she testified. It was, hey, it's working, Toxic. Thank you very much. Let's see if I have a date here. I'm not sure if it's in January. I'll have to check.
Something was February 3rd, but I don't remember what was falling on that date, what trial it was.
Okay. It's a small case, so I'm not sure it's being tracked on Discord. Just we know he's life in prison. He's not getting out. So
right, we're just here for the circus.
Yeah, and there will be more circus because with each appeal, he comes back in front of Judge Doro as long as she's there in that court. If she ends up getting elected to the Supreme Court, then it'll be assigned to a new judge who is excited to get that on his desk or her desk as well.
We know Doro is absolutely praying for that to happen.
Oh my goodness, this is why she wants to be on the Supreme Court to get away from Brooks. Yes, you have to work on my Spanish pronunciation, says DMB. I need an elementary Spanish class. So do you think BK may have been hiding in the house before the murders? Bennett, with this question, for me, I think the burglary charge tells me that there was an element of him entering, preparing to do that, and they charged it separately. So I think he may have been hiding in for a short while, not for very long. I don't think he likes, the timestamps, like you mentioned, Weatherwatch, of his phone. When it was turned off, it would have been a short while if it was any at all. But I do think he entered the house previously. That was not the first time he'd been in the house. Yeah,
I agree. I don't think he was laying in wait based off the cell data and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody's saying early February, possibly for DMB says early February for Brooks's date.
Okay.
Milwaukee trials also covering the attempted murder of his late sister's son, the nephew. Is that the one that appeared in his rap video, where he was waving a gun around or something? I think that's the same one.
That was a betting man.
Let's see. Brooks is February 3rd. Okay, that sounds right to me. February 3rd, February 2nd, something like that. It's basically Groundhog Day, right? What's your take on Groundhog Day, says T-Rox. Weather Watch, what's your take on Groundhog Day?
It's kind of like Santa Claus. Absolutely loved believing in it my whole entire life, and it was a whole lot of fun. Hopefully there's no little kiddos listening here, but no, I don't think there's much behind it, but I think it's a lot of fun as far as a type of words, kind of a fairy tale and a fantasy and a tradition, if you will, to look forward to. I think it's fun, but I don't put much into it as far as having anything to do with the weather.
Yeah. Denise says, I hear the defense for BK now regarding the info on his computer. He was a student of criminology. Of course, he has this type of info on his computer. I think the logical thought process of how you search things really tells a complete story on the internet. So if he's looking up, deepest river or waterways, how to hide a body type things, that's not going to be like, oh, I study criminology, so I need to know these things, right? Especially with the time frame of when things happened. I think that'll be evidence. Yeah,
it's going to be things in search history. It could be sales receipts, a purchase for a McKay bar off of eBay, for all we know. So things like that are potentially will come out. That'll be different than his studies.
Yeah. That guy says, do you think the first two victims were targeted, the last two were opportunistic? I don't know enough about that. They haven't released enough about his possible connections with some of the victims for me to understand which was what. It seems strange to me that he would have seen a fifth potential victim and not do anything, but then do opportunistic attacks on two others. So I don't think he saw the fifth victim.
I think connection, as far as prior relationship or knowledge he had of the victims, as well as whatever potential motive, if whatever comes out, will be what is able to be telling as far as why he did what he did in what order. If it ever comes out, to be honest, we may never get that information.
Yeah. It's not like, as much as we'd like, if he is found guilty, it's not like he then just spills the beans and says, yeah, you got me, so here, I'll tell all, because he has years of appeals. And if he tells all, that's new information that can be used against him, if this does end up on appeal.
Yeah, very similar to those that followed the Chris Watts case a few years back. When he just took the plea out of nowhere, there was so many details, so much of that storyline just left everybody in the dark. Thankfully, he's a dummy and he followed up with the FBI and the CBI later on from prison and shared more details. But for those first few months when he took that deal, there was no information. Everyone's just left in shock of, why, how, or why did this happen? So I know everyone's hoping that something like that does not happen in this case.
KQD says, Recovery Addict, Groundhog Day is one of my favorites. We always watch it twice on February 2nd. There are very few movies I can watch twice in a row. But Napoleon Dynamite and Monty Python might be in that category, I'll just say.
Right.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? That's also a good one. I know Mrs. R.A. would disagree on all three counts. Let's see. A lawyer believes there's a fraternity right behind the Moscow house. He thinks the killer was watching the house from there and didn't realize people on the first floor. Because it would have been, because of the way the house is built, they wouldn't have seen the first floor.
Yeah, it would have been on the other side of the building from their vantage point, right?
Yeah. Maria says, a student said on the news he went jogging 6 to 7 miles with BK because he didn't want to jog alone with a murderer on the loose. That poor guy. That BK says he didn't want to jog alone with a murderer out there. Yeah. I don't think he was really scared. I think he was was projecting a little bit. That's let's see. Just looking at what Kathy's sending out from Law and Disorder. Okay, just more jury selection stuff. We've got some trials starting, but nothing exciting today. Tina, come get some ham. Love that quote from Napoleon Dynamite. I think BK was working on his doctorate thesis and expecting a smiley face sticker. A couple of you agree with my Monty Python Napoleon Dynamite analysis. I guess we aren't getting the shout out, says Laura and Izzy. Who did I miss? I apologize. My mouse, although it's got a good mouse pad and it aims now very well, so I can click on what I see. The scroll button is not as precise. Let's put it that way. Let's see, who else did we miss here? Do you see any comments I need to reply to as I'm jumping around here?
No, I caught that one just as you caught it as well. So I asked in chat. They're asking for a forecast, it looks like.
Who was that?
Izzy and Laura.
Okay.
I think it's Izzy in Louisiana and Laura's in Alabama, if I recall right.
I see Laura says a shout out to James Spann and Weather Watch for excellent analysis. Looking for Izzy.
Here we go. Got it. So Izzy and Laura are in Alabama, so they're looking for a forecast for storms on Thursday.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So yeah, Thursday, midday, late afternoon, early evening is when there's going to be a squall line moving through central Alabama area. Again, the tornado threat is fairly low. This is going to be a strong damaging wind event, more than likely. You'll potentially see some hail, things like that. The new model will come out around noon my time, so I'll have a better idea of what that's going to look like. But you're definitely going to hear some thunder, see some lightning, and some heavy winds on Thursday. That is for sure.
Yep, which means we'll probably get it towards Friday side. So another day later on the East Coast.
Yep.
Greg McNeely is calling me out saying, "Recovery Addict, you took French and can't pronounce Kootenai?" It's yeah. I took French. I did not say I passed French. I took French. My grades were another matter altogether. I was probably one of the people that the French teacher was very glad when I did not sign up for the following French class. Maria McKee says, apparently the PA police and the FBI have been leaking the info and technically aren't under the gag order since they're not in Idaho. Could still get in trouble, though. What does that do to the case? What is people leaking do to this case in your mind, Weather Watch?
Well, the integrity of the investigation, and those are who involved, right? When the defense comes out and if they identify people that are tied to this investigation are leaking information, that's going to be bad for the state. A lot of the evidence potentially might not be admissible for things like that. So it could be extremely damaging depending on who may or may not be leaking that information.
And from a perspective as a crime watcher, a true crime watcher, it worries me that if a lot of people are talking, the judge might try to make more effort to clamp down, which might even affect the media access.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
That guy says, Recovery Addict, when's Weather Watch going to get his YouTube channel up again? We'll have to ask Weather Watch if only somebody knew him, so could someone reach out to him. Yeah, Weather Watch, what's the plan?
So I'm aiming for springtime. I was hoping for a bit of a lull in the weather this wintertime so I could start to work on that, but we haven't really seen it. So before the active severe weather season really picks up come spring, I'm hoping to get everything prepared and put together, but just kind of playing it by ear right now. It's fun joining channels. Scott, you're the first one I want to say that I've really been a guest on. I've been on a couple others since, but I do want to get my own channel, even put together some shorts or something like that if I'm not around and you want to throw it up on your screen if there's weather in, our watchers areas, things like that. So that's the long answer.
That would be cool. And as far as shorts go, I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with YouTube shorts or similar, or like YouTube's answer to TikTok. It's like a vertical short video, so it's easy to watch on the phone. They just announced that they're going to start monetizing shorts, which is super important for creators. Cool. Which it sort of kept a lot of YouTubers from producing that material because there was no incentive to do it. So that might be a format you see more and more on YouTube. Question here from Irene says, Recovery Addict and Weather Watch, why do you think the search warrant is sealed, and what danger to LE/victims? Do you want to take a shot at that one?
I'm really not sure why that would be sealed, other than the information in it that, yes, could pose danger to law enforcement victims, or even those that are still involved, such as BK's family or friends, things like that. Outside of that, I don't really know.
And I was thinking that possibly sometimes law enforcement likes to play their cards very close to the chest when it comes to methods of collecting data. There are ways they can get information that are not publicly known and discussed. Let me share this with you. There are times when you see in the news that there's a random car driving through from California to Utah that gets pulled over in the middle of the desert, and it has 85 pounds of cocaine in the trunk. And I would venture a guess that was not a random stop, right? That there were methods of data collection used.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Not yet. That maybe the public is not, most of the public is not aware of, and they like to keep that information quiet, because if the public knew what methods they were using, they would possibly be able to, the criminals might be able to take steps to defeat it or find another way around. So that might be part of it as well.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Let's see. Is TW? Oh, that's to TW.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Sherry says, recovered addict on Thursday. Koberger will plea 10 a.m. for the status hearing. Yes, and hopefully the video issue will be solved by then with the court. I haven't seen any changes yet, but we're hoping that the court can maybe clarify the live streaming issue, because broadcasting, a minute after a court gets out does not accomplish anything for the court. It doesn't change anything. Tom says, Recovered Addict, will you please thank Weatherwatch for all the gifted subs for us, and thanks for the one I happen to get also. You're a legend, Weatherwatch. Weatherwatch has been fantastic, has donated a lot of gifted subs. A lot of you guys are sitting on the front row because of him. And so my thanks go out to you, Weatherwatch, for the support of the channel and encouragement and everything. It's amazing to have you and people like you here in the chat that just make it so much fun for everybody else.
Well, absolutely. It's fun to do it. There's so many awesome people in this chat. Plus, Scott, what you bring to the table for us. I mean, look at everybody. Even if there isn't something happening first thing in the morning, everyone's here. They're early. They can't wait to chat and hang out and be a part of it. So anyone that can't be a member, happy to share and give to them. But we just want to support you and your channel, so that way you can't go anywhere anytime soon.
Well, thank you. It means a ton to me and Mrs. R.A.
Morning.
So much.
Love you both. Face blowing a kiss, 2 hearts, cucumber.
Before we get to that super chat, JA says, Recovery Addict, is Weatherwatch single? No, Weatherwatch is not single. Mrs. Weatherwatch is in the picture for sure.
She's downstairs, hopefully making some more coffee.
Nice. AJ says, good morning. Love you both. Thank you so much, AJ. Appreciate your support. Shout
out to Culliver.
Cullivar, is he in the chat here yet? I haven't seen him yet. Yesterday was a huge day. He made it rain, so to speak, with memberships as well as donations. I'm not sure if I almost said his real name. I'm not sure if he releases that, so I won't say that. I try not to say anyone's real name on the air because we do communicate with a lot of people over the burner phone, and they share information that is not mine to publicly release. So, but Colvars does a great job, and he's helping me on the back end as well, even with some people he wants to hook me up with that are that are in the same genre as me, and we might do some collaborations that way. So Color Me Abstract says, I want weather snow drop like in 1996 to Recovery Addict and Weather Guy. I live in Pennsylvania. So 96, you had a huge storm, if I remember correctly. I think in Utah, where I was at that time, there was a pretty significant snowfall that year as well. There's a lawsuit. Might have been across. How much snow is a lot for you, Color Me Abstract? I mean, how much do we need to order up? Because it just might be in the schedule already.
Yeah, because it's all relative, right? Some people 2 inches is too much, and other people have seen a couple feet, and it's no big deal.
Let's see. Bella says, 2 great men in view. Recovery Addict. Thank you both, Recovery Addict and Weather Watch. Tom says, yeah, I don't like my real name being out there. So apparently it's not Tom, but that's all good. What gets me is so many of you are very creative with your names. I love your usernames, right? that guy, things like that. They're hilarious. I get a kick out of them. But you guys think of new ones and you change them. And my brain cannot handle that. I have such a hard time associating the old name with the new name and then trying to remember what we talked about under the old username with the new one. I'm more of like a photographic memory guy, but I can't make that jump.
Coziest, coolest daytime channel. TY.
Thank you so much, Irene, for the super chat. This is a pretty cozy daytime channel. Thank you for making it cozy and being here. I appreciate your insight and your questions. Would not be the same without you, Irene. Thank you. Let's see. V.A. Morris says 97 was a 4-foot storm. That's quite a bit of snow, especially in a single instance. Sherry says I found 36 photos of inside Koberger's parents' house. I might want to see those because that's where the search warrant was. I wouldn't want them if it just happened to be like, looking at his aunt's house or something. But especially, Sherry, are these pictures from after the search warrant? Because I'm interested in the condition of the doors and windows primarily to see if they took out all the doors and windows or what happened there.
That would be absolutely wild to see.
Yeah, and Toxic would like those as well, for sure. And maybe if you send them on Discord, I'll be able to find them through Discord. That might be easiest. That might be a lot for the burner phone to handle this early in the morning. It's groaning under the weight of all the pictures that are being sent already.
Right.
Let's see. The investigation in the Anna Walsh case led to investigators across the street of my mother's house in MA. They are looking into a dumpster in Swampscott for evidence near his mother-in-law's house. Okay, so Franco, this case, we watched a little bit of the first appearance for the husband on an unrelated matter, I believe, because he's got an ankle monitor for fraud charges, right? For he stole like some paintings from a friend, then he forged 2 more paintings and then tried to sell all 4 of them as originals or something. So he's got an ankle monitor on. And then he commits a murder with an ankle monitor on, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't we know exactly where he went? I mean, from GPS data?
You would think so, right? Unless during these events he bypassed it like we were talking about yesterday for some reason or another. Mm-hmm. Either way, not very intelligent.
Yeah. Tag says, my brain can't make the jump either. I'll just stay with my real initials, and that just happens to spell Tag. Well, Tag, you're it. As she's texted me a couple times. Let's see. Susan, good morning. Good to Susan Blankenship. Rich says, in the Daryl Brooks world, there are some on-screen names such as Lawful Law and Lawful Lawyer, which have me dying. Yeah, it's created a couple phrases. Substain, things like that. They just didn't exist before, but now they're part of our vernacular. Mary Kay, you're one of them, Mary Kay. In Discord, I go by Bionic Mima. See, I would not draw that connection without you telling me. Let's see. So the news about that Walsh case, it's sort of like Baby Quinton. So I think the next step is they're looking at a landfill, right? I mean, if they're looking at a dumpster, the garbage collection, we've talked about this once before in Baby Quinton's case. Garbage collection is not just like a dump everything in a big pile and cover it with dirt type thing. There's actually a science to it with where they put things, how they layer things. It's an artwork. It's a science. It's a very structured formula. Even though you go out to the dump and it just looks like piles of garbage. They know where different trucks dump their material. They know that during a certain day, they're going to be dumping in this area and then covering it, this area and then covering it. And so they could go back to that grid and look at the records and say, well, this garbage can was picked up by this truck, which dumped on this date, and it should be in this area. Obviously, it's a larger area. It's not like to the square foot that they can pinpoint it. And it'll be easier to find an adult body than a child's body as well.
Well, and on that topic too, it's kind of funny. Again, I don't remember if this was true evidence or fact that came out, or if it was a theory. But supposedly BK, spreading trash in his parents' neighbors' dumpsters to be hauled off. Well, they might not find it on their property, but if they go to the landfill, it's all going to be now in the same general area.
Yeah, it would be right next to the other stuff. Right? Yeah. But let's see. Conditions of doors and windows, because December 30th was pretty cold there. It was. They probably had to move to a motel for a few days before workers arrived over New Year's. Right, and the police, we've mentioned that before. Police don't fix the doors and windows after they do a search warrant. Unfortunately, that's on the homeowner. Ivan says, "Good morning, addicts." Good morning, Ivan. Channing Tatham's tanning. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, we'll skip that one for just a little bit. He sold a fake $80,000 Andy Warhol paintings. Yes, that's the husband or the suspect in her disappearance.
That's right.
And how does he clean up the basement with $450 worth of cleaning materials and leave the murder weapon with blood on it? I mean, talk about amateur mistakes.
Yeah. Criminals aren't usually the smartest of people, are they?
Yeah. He also Googled how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body. That's awfully specific.
Jeez.
Well, you might as well put her name in there as well in the search field just to save us the extra time of connecting the dots. Let's see. Pauline says, my brother said the house looked in good condition. They must have fixed everything. It's possible. Most of the damage, the police aren't like knocking down walls when they're doing a search warrant, unless there's a reason to search for something hidden in a wall. But yeah, the windows.
I know Brian Etten had posted quick picture. It's kind of dark, but he did go back in the morning. He actually got yelled at by the family to get off the property. But his image did show the front door was broken, around the deadbolt area, and then the two windows adjacent had holes in them. And then a follow-up picture showed everything covered up with duct tape to do a quick patch until the handyman could arrive.
Okay, so not too bad. Let's see. Can wrapping the tag in tinfoil block the signal? It can. The Perry UK, Google Faraday cage. A Faraday cage is what you're trying to create if you're trying to block a signal from a device, whether it's a cell phone. You can actually order a Faraday cage pouch for your cell phone, which will stop it from sending and receiving signals. You can zip it in there. They're useful. Teachers can have a large bag that all the students put their phones in, and there's no distractions during the class. It draws some security concerns if you're having a phone for safety, but yeah, there's some devices out there that you can research that way. They also have the same things for your credit cards, really, because now credit cards that have that the near field technology where you can just pass your card close to the reader and it will communicate via chip. There are times that you don't want your card to communicate, and maybe when it's in your purse or wallet and you're not intending to buy something, you might not want someone to be able to brush up against you with the right equipment and read your card's data. So a lot of credit card holders have a little built-in Faraday cage for those card readers.
Yeah, that's a great point. I urge my family and friends, for anyone that does have that tappable credit card or debit card, like you mentioned, any transaction you ever do where you have to hand your card over, say fast food, any sort of drive-through, I tell them, do not use one of those cards. Have a different card or cash for that. That's how so many identities get stolen and fraud occurs, because people can have those devices, just tap it once, they've got all their information, and off you go, and you have no idea.
Yep. Lady Writer says, late, waking up in Colorado, starting the day, you addicts. Hope all is well. Welcome, Lady Writer. Good to have you here. I'm catching up on chat. I changed my name. I changed my name back to 80s Music Man, no longer Mr. 80s Music. You all know me by that name, so I'm not changing it. You're good. Either way, that's a small change. Dropping 3 letters off the tail end, that I can do. Sunshine says, I keep my Easy Pass in the Faraday cage. Do you put it in the Faraday cage as you go through the toll booth, or right before? I'm curious. Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper if it's not scanned? Do you think they will tear down the house now since it's a crime scene?
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
80s Music Man. I think you're talking about California, Idaho, the 4 murders. That is an issue. If you look on Google Earth, if you go on the street view, I'm not sure if this was a recent change or not, but that home is now blocked from view. It's now blurred from street view, so anything from the house, from the street, you can't see, and that's not a common thing. It has to be something you request from Google. They don't do it just on their own, and it's possible that the police asked Google to do that just to get people to stop looking at it and planning and making trips to go up there. Maybe that might dissuade some people from just coming up and visiting in person. But for some reason, somebody doesn't want us to look at the house and associate that image with the crime scene, although it's all over the news.
Right.
Let's see. I will never use my real name. The fact my real name is on this site is an accident, says Julianne Marley. That's awesome. Sunshine says she's not trying to get around the readers on the toll booths. It's just when not in use.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Good cover story, Sunshine and Sunflowers. We'll roll with that one. Tag says, I sell fake Andy Warhol toilet seats. So far, I've made nothing. My funds are in the crapper. To Weather Watch, AJ says, what's the worst weather you've ever been stuck in?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, probably one was a severe thunderstorm when I was traveling up the highway. The DBZ rating, that's the rainfall rate per minute, was absolutely intense. I couldn't see but 3 feet in front of me, so I actually had to hide under an overpass, which, thunderstorms move quick. The other, I wasn't stuck, but in my more amateur days, I was out storm spotting and chasing, and we had a potential tornado about 10 miles northeast of me. And so I hit the road and went out to chase it, rural area, and I couldn't quite see what I was looking for. And I wasn't really well versed with radar quite yet. This is years ago. And all of a sudden the lightning flashes exposed this massive tornado coming right for me. But fortunately, I was in an area where I could do a U-turn and just flew south down the highway to get away. But that's when I knew I really need to do a little bit more homework before I go get involved in weather.
But at the same time, that adrenaline was probably like, yeehaw, type thing. Love it. Do you see what I saw? For me, I would have to say the worst weather is probably going to be snowstorms. Growing up as a kid, I remember, driving in just some crazy road conditions. I remember lightning hitting probably within 100 yards of me outside. I remember, feeling the electricity in the air from the lightning before it struck, which was crazy. High winds, over 100-mile-an-hour winds. The east wind, as they called it in Davis County, Utah, that came down. They'd have these clouds that looked like a big rolling pin sitting on the top of the mountains. They just roll, and the wind would just come down the slope and blow fences and trains and semis over. So that's probably it for me. Never been near a tornado, although we've had a couple tornado warnings here in North Carolina, but nothing that really developed on the ground around us. Let's see. Good question, though, AJ. CG in Texas says, I made it, screeches to a halt, and then beanbag at the beanbag chairs. Good to have you here, CG. Now Scott stories from Weather Watch. Sweet. Here's a question from Always on Go. Recovery Addict Weather Watch. What do you think we will get Thursday at court? Any real evidence or just small bits of info? Talking about BK up in Idaho. Do you want me to
I don't know how much we're going to get from that. Is this, do we remember what these, not the subject matter, but this initial hearing, what this is going to be about?
Oh yeah, this is going to be, I think this will be mostly, possibly a plea out of him, which will probably be not guilty. Even if he later changes his plea, I think initially he'll plead not guilty. And I think we'll get some indication of how they want to proceed.
Are we going to address subject matter
because
jurisdiction?
they'll set the next court date here as well. Whether it's a status hearing or a preliminary hearing, or where it's going to go. The defense is going to either ask for time or ask, or might even they might waive his right to a speedy trial. That will be very telling if that happens in this hearing. But basically, it's going to start that roadmap of how this trial is going to proceed, and I think first of all would be the not guilty plea.
Yeah, so having that in mind, then I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see much for evidence. That's not going to be the time and place for anyone to present any such thing. That's going to, like you said, that's going to be the roadmap for how that trial will proceed. And then, the coming trial dates after that is when we'll start seeing more and more information.
Now, there might be something weird like his lawyer trying to make another strong argument for bond or something. The judge has already really addressed it, and she did get sort of a crack at that pie already. But she might try to bring that up again. I don't think it'll be successful. He's not going to get out on bond.
I agree.
KF7AIK says, off to work. Wish me luck with the first day of the return to outdoor retailers to Utah. That's a big show. Actually, they were a show in Utah that got hit by a tornado in downtown Salt Lake City. It's one of the bigger events of the year at the airport. Have a good day, everyone. Bob does work at the airport, so as you put it in there, I'll go ahead and say that. He's one of the ones that keeps us safe as we travel. Let's see. Coburg looks shocked and terrified to me. Are you talking about his court appearance? There was this sort of weird twitch in his jaw that the camera kept catching between zooming in and zooming out on the judge during that appearance.
Yeah, I couldn't get a real take on emotion or the look. People say evil eyes. People say they saw him, giggle with his lawyer. I don't know how much of it's a little bit of nervousness. Could it be arrogance? Could it be a little shock? Could he not really fully understand what he's just put himself in the middle of, allegedly? So I don't know what to make of his behavior or facial expressions, really.
Yeah. And hopefully we get a little bit more. But because he has a lawyer, we won't hear from him directly. Everything will come through his lawyer. There will be very, very few opportunities as the trial progresses to actually hear his voice. And one of those, if he goes through and pleads not guilty and falls through with trial, one of those will be when the judge talks to him about whether or not he wants to testify in his own defense. That's something that he has to select and choose himself, and will answer directly to the judge about. But AJ says, dude, the jaw/teeth clenching was telling. When do you think the actual trial will start? Nancy, this is so wide open. If he says, I'd like a speedy trial, that puts the state on the clock, and we'll see trial start within 6 months. And if he says, I waive the right, it could be 3 years. And we're still, plugging through data and experts analysis and mental competency, all sorts of things might be looked at.
That's a lot of weather reports between now and then. If that's the case.
It is. Lots of snowfall, lots of floods, lots of lightning. Tater Tot says, Weather Watch, you look like Bill Paxton when he played in the Titanic. You should look it up, just like him.
I'll have to give that a look. I haven't seen the Titanic in so long.
Let's see. A couple of you are sharing just some awful weather experiences, whether it's lightning storms and fog, Hurricane Ian. A few of you from Florida say you guys don't know what bad weather is until you've sat through a hurricane in Fort Myers or something. But let's see.
Oh, Bill Paxton. Ironically, he was the guy in the movie Twister also. That's funny.
Isn't what's the guy's name in Groundhog Day? The actor's not his real name, but what was his
screen name?
For some reason that name came up, but
somebody in chat will figure that out for us real quick.
Yep. Kevin says, Recovery Addict, watching Judge McBurney State versus Beard trial just started. Kid versus kid shooting over a dice game, gambling in Atlanta. Oh man, the kid versus kid. We're already looking at the situation we watched. We didn't watch together, but I watched the news conference up in Virginia with the 6-year-old kid that brings his mom's 9mm Taurus to school and shoots his teacher. And the law, basically, they're looking at this and like, what do you do when it's a 6-year-old that has do you press charges? Do you charge the parents? Do you what happens there?
Yeah, from what I read yesterday, he nothing can come against him in that state based off his age, not even on the juvenile level. They can't send him to a detention center juvenile. Basically, the only option they currently have is to have protective services come in and just remove him from the parents.
Right, and he's currently in temporary state custody, but they just basically decide if that's something that has to continue. But
what a tragedy.
Yeah, and it's sad that the kid thought that he had the information in his head that this is how to do it, and that this is okay for some reason. This is how to resolve whatever situation or whatever he wants to do. But
I agree.
I think we'll hear more out of that case about some heroes, some people coming in, rushing in to help secure that situation. They didn't give a lot of details at the press conference, but those should be coming out. let's see. 80s Music Man says, my favorite movie is Weekend at Bernie's. Funny movie, but also abuse of a corpse. Okay, speaking of abuse of a corpse, 80s Music Man, I'm not sure if you guys saw this. There was a video, I'm not sure if it's out of Texas or not. There was a restaurant where a robber broke into the restaurant, or a gunman broke into the restaurant and was robbing people in the restaurant. And as he's robbing, and this is fresh just a couple days ago, as he's robbing people, one of the patrons in the restaurant draws his own firearm and shoots a lot of times. The first 3 hit the guy and he goes down. The next 4 are into his back, and the final one was into his head when he's already taken the gun from him. And so the first 3 are probably justified. You might even be able to say the next 4 are excusable under the law, but the last one, when the gun had been removed from him, is probably going to get that person from the hero status to the villain really quickly. But the abusive corpse, I believe he was already dead at that point, so that might be the charge that he faces. But I'm torn on that one. I like to see people defend themselves and be able to do that and defend other people in the right situation. And I don't fault him for doing that. But knowing where that line is and knowing when to stop shooting when the threat is over is critical, or else you become the villain.
Yeah, real quick. I wish people took, extra classes and courses when they choose to carry, because, you can get somewhat trained and know what you're going to do, but you never know until you're in that situation. You have to do it. So that's why all that homework and all that training would really come and help. Like you said, he goes from hero to zero real fast with the following actions. So yeah. I wonder if that'll be on the Active Self-Protection YouTube channel. They do a lot of great work.
It'll probably get him demonetized. The video's pretty rough. It's a good video is what I'm saying. That it's a very clear depiction. Courtney says, Recover Addict, do you think BK saw the PCA before court? And if it was after, do you think he will plead guilty after seeing the PCA? I hope that made sense. That does make sense. I believe one of the analysts that I heard talk about this says he wants to waive extradition out of PA because he needs to see what Idaho has on him. And Idaho is not going to release that to him until it's served. So I don't think he saw the paperwork until it was served, but it was probably read to him when he was charged. It was definitely sort of read to him there with the judge. So that might have been the first time he really saw all the data, unless he was able to meet with his attorney before going to court, which I doubt he was. It happened very fast.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what he was thinking. Maybe say the cell phone data when they were just dumping all that out. Was he just, oh well, no, oh man, how did they? I didn't think they'd get a hold of that fast. Or was it all stuff that he's like, yeah, this is what I expected to kind of hear, but I can get around all this. Yeah,
that'll be interesting to see his eyes. Did they go wide when he was like, holy cow? I thought turning it off was enough. Type thing. Yeah. Let's see.
All right, I've got a little bit of work I have to do. I'm going to stay here in chat and hang out and watch. Okay. But I've got to get some emails out the door. And then
sounds good.
There's a few of you in chat. You've put up some questions. Michelle, I saw about Steamboat. It might have been DMB asking about New York or someone else. I made a quick note. So when I come back, I'll get in chat and I'll answer some of those questions that I missed.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for being here and being a great fan of the channel and a great supporter. You're a gentleman and a scholar. And all of the other good things. So wish you the best. Thank you so much for coming on today. All right.
Thanks for having me. All right.
All right. We'll see you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, it helps if I can switch the screen here. But thank you very much, Weather Watch. He's our weatherman here on the channel. I made the mistake of using my phone, which I was using for something else. And there we go. Now I can switch. All right, good stuff, good stuff. He threw the gun after he learned it was fake. Lesson learned. I saw that in the video, talking about the restaurant shooting. He did throw the gun, but it didn't change that he was still in the right initially to fire. I do wonder. I'm not sure if a jury would convict him for those last shots, but Let's see. It was an airsoft gun, and it looked real. That's all it took. A lot of that is, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but it's frustrating. That's why I harp on people that carry or have guns. Study their laws in the states they're going to carry in and know what you can and can't do. Yes, just because it's legal in one state to do a certain thing with a firearm, whether it might even be to how you store it. It might be illegal in another state to do the same thing. And if you are traveling or travel regularly, just having your firearm with you legally from one state, be aware of the laws that you're traveling into, because you're under a different jurisdiction when you cross those state lines. There are different laws on the books that change what your rights are and what you think is okay may not be okay in another state. Let's see, he had already got an attorney. Yeah, Bullish. Did you guys saw that? The attorney he got in Idaho was well aware of his impending arrest. I think she was notified before he was arrested. Okay, BK's eyes even wider. Yikes! Yeah, you look at the traffic stop and look how wide his eyes got there. It was bizarre. Okay, what other questions did you have here? If you got any questions about any of the cases we're following here, fire them off and we'll see if we can get some answers. Love the loves in chat for Weather Watch, the hugs, the thanks. He is awesome to have here. I appreciate him so much that he's willing to take time out of his day because he is busy. He does have full-time work to attend to. Looks like Matthew Harris just slid into chat. Welcome, Matthew. Hopefully you're having a great day. Matthew and Weatherwatch were actually able to meet up not too long ago in person, both down there in Texas.
Subject matter jurisdiction?
Subject matter jurisdiction. Probably not, honestly. Let's see. So one of my commands is not working. I might try to fix that here in a second. Courtney says, Recovery Addict, did BK hearing on Thursday get moved from 10 to 8? I thought I heard that somewhere. Yes, Courtney, if you go through the court documents, they did move it to a little bit earlier. There was a conflict with one of the parties. I'm not sure which, whether the state or the defense. But one of them had a conflict, and so they moved it just to earlier in the morning, which is good for us because that means less of a wait once we get started. Ashley, you made it. That's all that matters. That's true. We don't care if you're late, although we will note it for the record. Just don't let it happen again. That's all. Shall not be infringed, says Casey. Right. Open carry doesn't mean in your hand. It's on your possession. Right. A gun in the hand can mean different things. It can mean brandishing. Open carry just means that it's on your person, like on your waistband or tucked into your belt. Or something like that, where it's visible. That's where it's open. Julianne says, I managed to get rid of my surname. What do you think about DB and his new lawyer and appeal? Talked about that just a little bit this morning. I think it's funny. I think that new lawyer might ask to get removed from the case. Can you imagine how difficult that's going to be? Because DB still thinks he knows. He wants the lawyer, most likely, to argue his sov-sit rights, and then no lawyer is going to do that. But that's just going to be frustrating. There's probably going to be a lot of discussion going on there, where either the lawyer has to be super firm and say, "Look, shut up. Okay, this is my field now. I'm playing now. I'll tell you what we can do." You really need somebody to just put him in his place, and run with it that way. Golden Mom says, "Do you see the text I sent you?" No, let me look right here. I've got my phone tied up doing other things. So let me pull up the burner here on my computer. Where'd it go? Okay. Dialing into the burner phone right now. There we go. Hopefully you guys can't read all this. Messages.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Oh, you know what? have to fix something. That's why I did it wrong. I'm falling behind in chat as we talk here. So let me answer some questions. I'll look for that text, Golden Mom, and see what it was you sent me. 80s Music Man had a sports reminder that Georgia runs over TCU 65-7 to win the national championship. 65-7 in a national championship. This is that's like a college team versus a junior high team. Those numbers are embarrassing. Was there a lot of injuries on one side? Did TCU have a lot of struggles that way? Okay, if Perry, UK True Crime, says, if his DNA had alerted for being connected to another homicide on CODIS, do you think we would know that by now? Yes, I think we would. I think they would definitely try to charge him with the other ones as well. Younger sister said on the news that Kaylee has been mean to men after turning down their advances politely. Did she have a run-in with BK at a bar or something, knowing BK's behavior at bars? I don't know on that one. We know there was some sort of connection, but we don't know how close or how that worked. Tag, I still owe you that one. Send me ideas for more ideas for what you want to have happen when you put that in chat. Fugitive recovery agent says, hi y'all, hope everyone is having a great day. We are. It's Tuesday. What's not to love, right? Let's see. Isn't that the list everyone can use? What did Bella say here? Just do the exclamation point commands. Right, that command should give the response. Hang on, what was that? Tag, gotta pressure him harder for the squirrel. I know you've sent me some squirrel pictures, but I need either a text response or an audio response is what we need. And maybe just a squirrel chatter is what we're going to go with. I don't want it to be too intrusive so that it interrupts everything we're doing, but I'll work on that. Carol says, I'm listening and baking. What are you making for us, Carol? I'm so excited. When's dinner? Husband has a young bedridden cousin in the nursing home, taking him goodies today. Oh, that is awesome. That's awesome. Sorry about the cousin. Hopefully he's on the mend. At least he'll be happy with some goodies. Do you think DB thinks he will be cleared of all charges with a new attorney? I do believe that he has not. Leopard hasn't changed his spots. That he's still going to be the same DB he was when he was in court. But he just recognizes that the system, that he can't work the system. That he has to use the system to try to get what he wants. But I don't think it'll be very effective. With lots of trials happening pretty much at the same time, how are you prioritizing scheduling? Lots of pickles needed for energy. Courtney, we're going to go with some major ones, right? We're going to do the Murdaugh trial. We're going to do Sarah Boone. We're going to, in the meantime, in between times, we're going to cover some of the smaller trials that have caught our attention. The eyedrop murders. We're going to cover what's happening with DB on some of his other charges. I made an oopsie in my syntax. Where did I make the oopsie? Is it a comma error, DMB? I can correct that. It's the pics of the Rents house. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let me switch devices to have it run off this one. Just need my IP address really quickly. And it's .96. Okay, let me switch things around here. Change this IP address. Okay, now I can use my phone. It was that easy. But let me access the burner phone and see what's happened here. Golden Mom.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
This is the one with the dad cleaning up after the SWAT team? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, yeah. He's wearing a Life is Good sweater. He's got a shop vac, and he's just sweeping up broken glass and taping the doors and windows.
There's a lawsuit.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they did a number on those. Holy cow, on the doors and windows. Blinds got damaged as well. Lots of pictures. I feel bad for him. I don't think he knows or knew what was up. It's pics of the rent's house. Is that the right one? I got the parents' house. Where's my squirrel, says Tag. I'm working on it. I wasn't, but let's see. This is not sharing in chat. I won't read this one out loud, Bella. Okay. Okay. Just got some inside information there on it with a family member. Okay. Sharon McDonald says, Recovered. Does everybody know when BK cleaned his car? Surely when he went back the second time, there must have been blood in his car. I don't know. I think the government knows. I think the state definitely knows. If they were following him and knew of him back in November, I think they were probably keeping an eye on him. We'll see here. If you do have a question here, I'm trying to read the ones that tag me, like Charlie did here. The sound of the hunters in South Park going squirrel would be perfect. Okay, let's see, South Park hunter squirrel. Okay. All right, I've got that pulled up, so I'll keep that in the background. We'll have to maybe look at that one. J. Kidd, good morning. Good to have you here. Little Miss says, you're going to share some of those pics you're looking at privately there, or what, sir? The pics were just from a news story that Golden Mom sent me. This is from the Daily Mail news article saying, Brian Koberger's father seen cleaning up mess, SWAT team family raid the home. I wasn't going to share those ones because the dad's not the suspect. You're welcome to go out and look at them. I just wasn't going to put them out. Sunshine and Sunflowers just popped open my last jar of bread and butter pickles. You know what that means? That means it's time to make a grocery store run. Gordon Blackett says, impatiently tapping my foot, waiting for a trial, any trial to start. Help. There are a couple small ones. There's a lot of little family courts that get really funny. But generally, they're not recorded. So you sort of have to catch them when they're happening. I can record them or have the technology to. Whether or not they want me to is another matter. Tag says, which one does everyone want? Type 1 or 2? A squirrel squeaking and barking or saying, where's my nut? So we'll have to do a poll on that one, I guess. Poor dad is probably so proud of his son's academic achievements. I know of all the things I've done, my dad has always been most proud of my education. Yeah, his dad was like, yeah, he's a doctorate. You know, he's getting his doctorate at WSU when he was in the traffic stop. Weatherwatch says, and we're just discussing deleted search history. And we were. Yes, we were discussing deleted search history. The Dexter Boone trial, this is going to be a fantastic trial. Boone is amazing. Sarah Boone trial is going to be insane. Cannot wait. We are waited. I checked this morning again to make sure. Somebody just gifted some subs. Hang on one second. And it was Weatherwatch with 5 gifted subs. Pat Hansen, Lady Writer, Liz Carlstrom, Cass, and Tara. Congratulations on getting Weatherwatch's gifted subs memberships. Thank you so much, Weatherwatch, and congratulations to those who just got the coveted front row seat. You can take it by hitting !seat in chat, and you'll get to move right to the front of the room, and your view gets so much better up there. And as KQD says, the best thing about sitting in the front row is he can look back and see all his friends. So, I've got the "Where's My Nut" little audio from Tag, followed immediately by some heavy metal music. I'm not sure if that was the same video or not. Let's see. 4th District Court, 44th District's court's going. Travis County is going. That's a family.
Are we going to adjust
family
subject
dog.
matter jurisdiction?
Have you seen how many more members? Let's see. That guy says recovered. I think you have more members now than not members. I will tell you. I haven't looked here. There seem to be quite a few of you. The channel has. I'm not even sure. As of right this moment, I'm showing 5,300 subscribers. Holy cow. That's a lot of subscribers. And we have, I will say this, the watch time for subscribers is much higher than YouTube's normal. A lot of times the numbers are inverted for what I'm seeing, based on just how amazing you guys are watching the channel. Let's see. What a night we had. Still lingering tornado watch, says Tish. G-Baby's toys flying around my yard. Trees bent in half. Tish, where are you at? Where was that happening? TW, see you later if you got to step out. Thanks for being here. Yes, 5K subs. Thank you so much, all of you. This has been amazing couple months. Tish, I'm dying to know where you're located. Sunshine Sunflower says, got your stickers ready to send in the mail today. I can't wait to see them. I'm so excited. I do love stickers. I have an audio box that I actually keep my the soundboard in when I travel and do setup for other shows, and I cover the outside of that with stickers. So I think I will definitely save a coveted spot on that box with one of your stickers. Bit for next, but watching now, numbers are far below thumbs up numbers. Darn, and I've already voted once. It's all right. Just you being here is enough. If you do want to give it a thumbs up or a share or something like that, that is fantastic. But just being here is enough. Where do I get a membership for this channel? Victoria, I think memberships are given out by YouTube when someone does gift a membership. If you're not able to join or don't want to join at this time, you might just get one when someone gifts them. But YouTube gives them out randomly, sort of to people who watch the channel when they're gifted, like WeatherWatch gifted 5 today. There may be a setting. I think someone can tell me this. I think there's a setting where you can turn on accept gifts. Like if you go up to the little gift in chat, the 5 gifted little green bar that appears at the top of the chat. If you go up to that and click on it, it should have a setting somewhere that says accept gifts on this channel, and that it will put you in the eligibility to get them when they're gifted next. Local shopkeeper says, it's your great content and involvement with your community that gets the watch time so high. Other creators make it all about them, but your community all about the community. Love it. Well, you guys are what brings it. This is what I'm so excited about. I could hear myself talk all day and be completely bored out of my gourd, but you guys bring some great insights, some conversations, some questions. She's in Northern California, says WeatherWatch. Sorry, squirrel, mid response. I saw WeatherWatch's comment. Sorry. So thank you very much. I appreciate that, local shopkeeper. But thank you for being here, Central California. Okay, Tish, please stay safe. Yeah, those storms. You're in for a few more apparently, according to WeatherWatch. So hang in there. Isabella says, I won't lie. I instantly subscribe to you because your voice is very relaxing. I love napping to your streams. The energy is so nice and positive. It's cozy here. Well, if a few more people get a few extra hours of sleep because of me, I think that's a success. So Izzy, or Isabella, sorry. I'm glad you got that. I gave you a nickname. I called you Izzy. Hopefully that's okay. You have to allow gifts to accept them. I think I explained that. I'm not sure if I did it right. So if I made a mistake, let me know. What's on the agenda today? We're waiting for some trials to start. So there's not a lot we can watch together. There will be times later this month when we have too much to watch, where we have the Murdoch case in South Carolina and Sarah Boone down in Florida, happening at the same time. I'm going to be recording both of them. I'll probably have a live stream going where in my background, I'm not sure if you can see back there against the wall, I can watch 8 different things at the same time, and I can actually record each one separately. with their audio separately. So I'll be recording those at the same time and then going back and playing stuff. We'll probably do a live watch and then an evening catch-up for the other trial. Greg says, I always try to mention your stream when I'm on the other streams. Dilbert for one. That's awesome. Screen names are killing me. Lots of creativity in the house. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much. Good work, mods. I appreciate the work you're doing here. Can non-subscribers become members? Yes. I think so. Maybe you have to subscribe to get the join option. If you're on an Apple device, I think you have to be like in Safari or something. You can't just use the YouTube app to do it. The RA ASMR voice. Yeah, what do you want me to read to help you guys sleep? I could do that. Welcome, Cass. Please take a front seat. Welcome. Good to have you here. Cover the Texas father and son dumpster self-defense shooting trial, please. What a name is that? Texas father and son dumpster self-defense. I do like self-defense trials. Texas, I'm going to type it in just like you put it. Texas father and son dumpster self-defense. Where's this trial at? Father and son were recorded on video. This is from BuzzFeed. Father and son were recorded on video fatally shooting their neighbor over trash. Oh, my goodness. Shirtless. Both father and son. Shirtless. Allegedly shot dead Aaron Howard during a confrontation over a mattress in a dumpster. Warning video contains graphic footage. They're from Abilene, Texas. Were charged with murder after they were caught on video fatally shooting their neighbor during a dispute over trash. John Miller, 67, his son Michael Miller, 31, were charged with first-degree murder in the death of Aaron Howard. They're each on $250,000 bond. And it was recorded by Howard's common-law wife. Okay, so I can't play this audio, or it would, YouTube has some standards, and where there's a recording of somebody getting shot, that's one that they don't like very much. Let's see, where's the date on this? Okay, September. This is September 21st, 2018. So tell me where it's at in the courts. Is it just now getting to the trial process? I can't see a date here. Man, talk about bizarre though. That's crazy. Sherry McDonald says, just read legally. They can't charge the 6-year-old who shot the teacher because it's possible to understand the court proceedings. Yeah, there will be no charges there. There may be charges against the parents, against the mom. I know the mom purchased that 9mm Taurus legally. We also know that there was more than one round in that gun. That's a semi-automatic gun for those who are interested, meaning that we know it was a pistol, but it wasn't a revolver. You think of like a John Wayne type gun, a revolver. It was a semi-automatic firearm where you pull the trigger and the act of firing one round loads the next round. And so pulling the trigger again would have shot again. And the whole thing that it wasn't in his backpack, that it was on his person. He had it tucked in his belt band or waistband or something. Gangster style with a 6-year-old. And that's not a small gun, a 9mm Taurus. Just watched the video of the restaurant shooting. It was over the top. The guy is lucky he lives in Texas. Yeah, I don't know if a jury will convict him. Because
there's a lawsuit.
Yeah, he was in the right to start firing, and maybe he'll be able to have a defense to say, look, I'm not a police officer. The adrenaline of the moment took over, and the last one was accidental. It's the last shot that really is the problem, because that's after he got the fake gun out of the guy's hand. Maybe we can watch a past trial, do a poll of some people, not too long trials we can watch together. 80s rocks out to a sold-out concert due to that ASMR radio voice. The Dumpster Bros case. Okay. I'm not sure if this command, try commands with an S on the end, see if that works. Any update on the Freedom of Information Act? Great question, Golden Mom. This morning, I thought I started to answer that, and then I got distracted. This morning, I was just reviewing that for both Florida and California, because I have two pending. My California one is, it has a timeline. It has a deadline that they have to respond by. Let me just double check and see what that deadline is. Let's see. California Highway Patrol. Okay, so they reached out to me on the 29th and saying they're exercising their right to extend it for another 14 days. So we're getting very close to the end of California's extension. So they have not responded yet since that extension, and that's regarding the case where the dog was sicked on the person who was not.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Yeah, the dog was released on a suspect who was not involved in the car chase, and the camera went up in the air.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
It was very clear to everybody else, except for the police officer who was sending the dog on him, that was the wrong individual. So we're hoping to get some documents on that. Let's see. All right, there we go. Commands with an S. That worked. I will need to fix the address one. Houston said they're not going to charge the shooter because he was essentially a victim of robbery. Laura, I heard that they still wanted to talk to him because they hadn't. He left the scene. He was not there. He didn't stay, and they were saying we'd like to talk to him. Can we listen to ASMR recovery addicts reading creepypastas? What's creepypastas? Do other countries do broadcast trials? Yes, they do. The problem is a lot of them broadcast them in other languages. So it gets hard to do. I know India has some crazy ones that are broadcast, but it's very hard to follow. Even if it's done in English, the accents and the volumes and stuff make it difficult. Do we know whether or not the dog that bit the wrong guy got bail during its arraignment? That dog got an attaboy and a pat on the head, and then back in the kennel. No problems for the dog. It's not going to be punished for anything it did. Today I'm listening to the soothing sounds of RA's voice and playing Stardew Valley on my iPad. Stardew Valley. I didn't realize that was an iPad game. I've played similar games in my days. Let's see. How can you be involved in a shooting and not stay? Nick Nico, he left. They said, he took care of business and left. He gave the money back to all the people that had their money taken from him, took the money off the body and handed it back and then left. As we know, recovery addict and pronouncing foreign names does not go well. I have a hard enough time with English names. That is one of my great failings, as you guys are well aware. BK has no prior connection to the victims pre-act. So says Sharon Gray, Kaylee's family's lawyer. I'm not sure. I would say that it depends what their definition of connection to would be. Are they aware of each other? Did they meet? Something like that. I don't think he was like dating one of them. I don't think it was that close. Recovery Addict is keeping me distracted from doing my housework as usual. You're welcome, Ashley. I do what I can. Let's see. Are you familiar? Elsie says, Recovery, are you familiar with the Andrea Del Vasco case? I was going over it yesterday, and there's some similarities with Idaho. Not the same killer, of course, but some interesting parallels. I am not familiar with that one. Is Andrea Del Vasco the victim or the suspect? Or the guilty? I'm not sure if that's even resolved. I wouldn't trust any family knowing who their kids have contact with or not, says Bitfinex. Yeah, I agree. I would say this is a college student away from home, so there may have been some contact there that the family was not aware of. She says no one knew of this guy at all. He was sort of a nobody, sort of flying under the radar for a lot of people. But I wouldn't be surprised if there still was a connection somehow. All right. I'm in Toronto, so practically America. It's just across the border. Okay. All right. There questions just appeared here. Hey, chat. Let's try to have Recovery Addict put in his arsenal of sound bites. I doubt it. From Dumpster Bros. I doubt it from Dumpster Bros. I'll put this on the list here. Let me go back here. Okay. We'll think about that one. Maria McKee says BK was asked in PA prison what he was doing in Idaho on the night of the murders, and he said the shopping was better in Idaho. I don't know what he meant by that, but it gave me chills. The shopping was better. Like he's using that as code word. Shopping for victims. Did you see the video I sent about the bear and the cubs following the man in the woods? J-Kid, I saw a couple videos. Did you send it to the burner phone? Let's see here. The burner phone is struggling with some of the stuff that gets sent. For some reason, it doesn't come through. J-Kid. J-Kid, send a text to the burner phone just with J-Kid as a subject matter. Or as the... Tag just sent me something I cannot read. What was this? Oh man. Are there any Brits in chat who still live there? Yeah, Samantha Terry, we do have a couple. Abby UK, if she's still here, is one of our mods, is over in England. We've got a couple from Ireland as well that are nearby. Any sound effects from the depth trail? There are a few good ones there. Do I have to answer that? Oh, that would be a good one. Do I have to answer that? I just want the do I have to answer that part. Okay, I've got that one pulled up here. I'll work on that today. If you guys let me take an early break here, I'll start working on the sound effects. I don't want too many because they can really crowd the chat a little bit. And we don't want to distract away from everything. Bitfinex, the video where one of the girls has words with someone in line, you think mom and dad knew about that exchange? Nah, no way. Yeah, mom and dad didn't know everything that was happening there. Did you see that the Idaho killer went back to class after the murders and the class was talking about the actual Idaho murders? They interviewed classmates. Wow. Creepypastas are horror stories read aloud, and many times the reader has an ASMR voice and oddly relaxing. Do a YouTube search and we'll bring them up. Okay, on a globe, I'll have to look at creepypastas here. Got them here. The newest trial date for Dumpster Brothers is March 20th. Okay. March is going to be busy, too. Depends how things go. I know we've got the two kids who killed their Spanish teacher. I think those start the middle of March as well. Okay. Nancy says, to all you chatters out there, you are absolutely amazing with your questions. You are. You have so much information. They said when they started to discuss them, he grew silent when he was usually pretty chatty about cases. Yeah, he had all the answers, but he did not offer them then in class. I'm not sure if I can get away with using the Pixar soundbite. Some companies are more religious about enforcing their copyright than others. I'd like to think that a tiny soundbite like that would be fair use, but I'd rather not fight it in court. Did you see what TW did to his name? Where's TW's name? Katrina, what did you do? Creepypasta was the basis for the Slender Man case? Now that is getting creepy. Did Judge Doros seat a jury? No, not yet. I think they talked about questions for the jury when they do that, but they have not seated the jury yet in the eye drop murder case. Is the one if that's the one you're talking about. Pickles pasta, y'all making me hungry. Off to find food. We'll be back soon. We'll see you, T-Rocks. Bring enough to share when you come back. So they found it. Looks like they found blood at the trash facility where they've been searching for Anna Walsh. It's not looking good for the husband, I think. That'll be awesome. Awesome to follow that one. All right, I think I answered everybody's questions. If anybody had something that I missed, I'm going to give you just a moment to throw it in chat, and I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, we're going to try to wrap up here. We might come back for an afternoon show if there's some video that pops up that's recent. I like to follow stuff that's more recent. I know there's a lot of older stuff we could go over. I think a lot of that has been hashed over a lot already. I like to sit as I would if I were on a jury and see things as they develop and ask the question of how would I vote and how do I perceive what's happening. Jen says, Recover Addict, does anyone know if BK's parent made a statement after the affidavit was released? I think the statement we got was after their arrest, after his arrest, where they basically said that that they're supporting their son. They want the system to play out. They're cooperating. That's the last I heard, Jen. If anyone's heard something different, just put it in chat really quickly. Thanks for the show this morning. Have a wonderful day. You too, Sunshine Sunflowers. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Any new car chases? I was looking for a couple. There's some videos that have dropped for, let's see. Which one was it? I think there was one where there was a car crash, a police car crash, but it was only about 30 seconds long. I don't have it pulled up right now. Where's my bedtime story? We'll work on that. Pickles, not politics. I like it. Is this TW? Is that what you did? I'm never going to be able to remember that's TW. 6-year-old shooter at the elementary school is very disturbing and sad. It is. And talking to the the superintendent or something of the schools, basically saying we've had to address weapons at the junior high level, but we thought our elementary kids were safe. We thought that these younger kids, it wasn't going to be an issue, but now we have to look at possibly metal detectors, making our schools look more like a prison, trying to keep people safe. But it's sad there. Anthony says, are we going to be covering the 6-year-old in Virginia who shot this teacher? We talked about it a little bit. It sounds like, Anthony, that there will not be charges. Based on his age, he wouldn't be able to understand the proceedings. He may end up going into state custody, not protective custody, but like the foster care system. If there's issues with him at home, and there may be charges that come to the parents, the mom particularly, who purchased the gun legally. Knox stream later. Yes, we have the one from last night where the magistrate just sounds like he's losing his voice constantly. I didn't want to play that one. It wasn't super exciting. There were a couple this morning that were sort of funny where the guy's saying, I don't think I should be here. But have an amazing afternoon. We sure will. We might pop back on. If I do, I'll make this promise. I'll send something out to Discord as a notice, because they've been begging for that, and I should be giving them a notice when I go live. Check out the Michael Valva trial. It will make you sick. Oh man. Is there a law in Virginia that charges parents for leaving firearms within reach of their children? Sounds like the parents are going to get in trouble for this. Maria, a lot of states have that law, but not many of them have actually pressed charges and pursued that successfully. We're seeing the parents being charged. We might see that in the Parkland case, which also is coming up soon. I think if let me check the dates here on that one. Parkland, that's. A second for it to open here. Okay, so Parkland, the Oakland shooter parents, the Crumbleys, James and Jennifer, are actually the 17th, so they're a week away for that one. And there's a parents getting charged in the case where their child did something with a firearm at school. Let's see what else we have coming up here. Obviously, we got Sarah Boone on the same day. And we'll probably be following Sarah Boone on that one, quite honestly. That's going to be a pretrial hearing. We've got a Modesto cop shooting, preliminary hearing, January 19th. We've got a lot happening. Let's see. Yesterday we had some hearings, I guess, in the Vallow case. We have some news breaking there with possibly Lori has an alibi, which if it's an alibi, then she actually has to prove the alibi, right? It's not like the state has to prove that the alibi is not true, but she has to prove the alibi. So that'll be interesting if she has an alibi where she was at the time of the murders. KQD, the weather's getting bad here, so I'm going to leave to go shopping before it gets much worse. See you tomorrow. Yes, I clicked like. Thank you very much, KQD. Have a great day. Hello to everybody there. In the UK in the 90s, we had a murder of a toddler, James Bulger. 2 10-year-olds killed him. Wow. I wonder when that was. I was over in the UK during 96, 98 time frame. Can you imagine being Sarah Boone's attorney after you asked to be removed from the case because of her? Eric, Mr. Bankowitz, Frank J. Bankowitz, the attorney, may still ask to get off the case. It might happen in the next week. He'll have to make a more convincing argument that he presented to the judge already, because the judge has said no so far. Oh, let's see. Crumblies are not on the 17th. They're stuck in Michigan Supreme Court. Okay, thank you, Lil Miss. I'll update my... do you have a date of when they are, or is it just going to be pending? I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay. Have a great day. Let's see. Modesto is my area. Was 93. The boys are out now, but one keeps reoffending, so he might be back in. Okay. Sounds good. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Liverpool and 93. The boys snatched him from a shopping center. Yeah, that's pretty bad. No news on the letters from Sarah yet, J.E. We're watching. Governor Santos' office has not been very forthcoming in that information. We're hoping that changes here in the near term. I might give him a call, actually, to see if I can check on the status. Let me just do another search here for anything. I've got nothing so far. Let's do that today. Let's call the governor's office and see what's up and see where our Freedom of Information Act request is, because we're dying to get that letter from Sarah Boone. No date until Supreme Court decides if they're going to be charged, period. Okay, so that might be a ways off, several months. We're still looking for William Terrell here if anyone wants $1 million reward, Cakespoo says. Yeah, if you got the information, the money is waiting for you. Hoping to see you all this afternoon. I think we'll be back to do something this afternoon, just to have a little fun. Probably be around 1:15. It's 11 right now, so at least 2 hours. At least 2 hour break here, maybe 3. Thanks for joining this morning. Thank you, all of you. You guys are amazing. Please, sometime today, as soon as you can, first chance you get, give a hug to those people you love. Tell them you love them. Smile at somebody, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again, which will probably be this afternoon. But if not, it'll be 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you all. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the amazing people who've become members on the channel, supported the channel financially. It means the world to me and Mrs. RA and our family. We love you guys. Thank you all. We'll see you later.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
That was perfect timing.